Mira's mother has been documenting her daughter's growth since she was a toddler for her husband. Her husband is captain in the merchant navy, so he hardly gets time to spend with his family. It is February 2001. Mira is celebrating her 3rd birthday on a ship with her parents. They've organized a party for their precious daughter. After cutting the cake, Mira sits while her parents dance to slow music. Mira keeps staring at the metal door as she hears a snap. Intrigued by something she sees, she follows it, and once in the lobby, the invisible force lifts her and brings her down, as if playing with little Mira. Mira enjoys the thrill of being lifted so high in the air, till she remembers she left her doll just a few feet away. She runs back to get it, but the invisible force doesn't let go of her and drags her with it. Mira screams for her mom before she's dragged, and everything goes dark. Mumbai, June 2012, and Prithvi, a merchant navy officer, is unable to sleep again. He looks at his wife's picture and remembers the day he had come with his friend Riaz to take his sweetheart, Sapna, with him on her wedding day. They elope and get married in a court, and on the same day, Sapna tells him that he is going to become a dad. They soon welcome a baby girl. An apartment that used to brim with the happy laughter of the family is now covered in darkness, and in that darkness, Prithvi now sits alone. Prithvi gets intel about girls being trafficked in one of the cargoes. He goes to the base and, after successfully locating the girls, takes them to safety. But he gets caught by 3 goons, with whom he fights, and soon the police arrive to rescue the girls and take the culprits into custody. Riaz is angry with his friend for jumping into such a dangerous situation alone. He is glad that Prithvi got away with minor injuries. Riaz worries about Prithvi, as he has nobody to take care of him. Prithvi returns to his messy apartment. He lies down from exhaustion, but sees the paper cup phone he had made with his daughter, Megha, move. He holds the cup near his ear and talks to his daughter, who asks from the other end how he injured his hand. Prithvi asks her to sleep, to avoid her mom catching her up so late. Prithvi is welcomed in the office, with applause for his heroic act yesterday. The news makes it to the front page of the newspaper. Seabird, a wrecked ship, ran ashore on Mumbai's Juhu beach without a single soul on board. The ship has entered deep sand, because of which the authorities will have to wait for high tide to get the ship back into the waters. Till then, surveillance is kept to keep the public out of its vicinity. A young couple decides to spend some time on the abandoned ship. They tiptoe their way onto the deck, evading the eyes of the security. But this would prove to be a bad idea, because whatever is on that ship attacks them and pulls them into its darkness. The salvage operations begin the next day. Riaz and Prithvi are in charge of the team to get things done, under the guidance of the Director General of Shipping, Agnihotri. While the crew is on the deck preparing, Prithvi decides to check the inside of the deck. The inside of the ship is dilapidated. As he's walking around, he steps on Mira's doll, making it sing. He gets a little spooked, but continues walking further down the deck. He can't help feeling that there is somebody on the deck, as he gets glimpses of somebody running across the rooms. And his apprehension is correct, as a creature slithers on a wall while he's looking back, but he doesn't notice it. Mira's doll seems to be following Prithvi, because when he goes upstairs, he finds it there and even sees it changing places. Prithvi is in deep thought as he and Riaz are having dinner. He orders a drink to calm his nerves, but it only aggravates when Riaz tells him that he has been instructed to dispose of the ship as soon as possible because it is considered to be haunted. Later at night, before sleeping, Prithvi thinks about Sapna and is reminded of the rafting accident that caused Sapna her life. He dozes off, but is woken up by a crashing sound. His wedding picture with Sapna has fallen off the wall, but he freaks out when he sees the same doll from the ship in his hands. Was it really there, or an illusion he could not make out? One more such incident happens, when he sees a room on the ship in perfectly good shape. He takes many pictures as proof and goes out on the deck, but the ghost of the crew member who stayed in that room attacks him. Prithvi is scared out of his wits, and injures his foot when he falls back after seeing the gruesome ghost. Riaz and his wife, Nilofer, are worried about him. Prithvi has collected some files and other things from the ship. He takes them home and looks at the CD he found within the things. It shows Bandana, Mira's mother, showing the office, and then it cuts to where she's showing the box of illegal substances and cartons full of gold bars covered with hay. A second clip shows her badly beaten up, as she gets up slowly after her husband, who looks extremely intoxicated, leaves the room. With this clip, the recording ends. He is still thinking about who the woman is, when he gets a call from Nilofer, who asks him to meet her. He reaches the given address, and she introduces him to Professor Raghuvir Joshi. He shares a similar past as Prithvi, where he had lost his wife and son in a car accident 10 years ago. Initially reluctant, Prithvi confides in him that he hallucinates about his wife and daughter when he doesn't take his pills. He has stopped taking them so he can always see them, indicating all those times he had been talking to Megha. It was the side effect of not taking his medication. Raghuvir obliquely points out that it might not be hallucinations, but Prithvi laughs it off. The next day, the body of the girl who sneaked into the ship a few days back is found on the beach. This induces pressure on the shipping department to remove the ship from the beach quickly. The news of the entire crew on the ship disappearing in 2001 is making people interested in knowing what might have happened. The next day, they hire a tugboat to salvage the Seabird, but it fails when the tugboat gives in. Suddenly, Prithvi sees a worker drowning in the sea. He runs to save them while Riaz calls for help. Prithvi reaches the worker who has lost consciousness by now. In the process, he spots a little girl looking at him from the inside of the ship. But before he can get a better look, he is pulled outside by the rescue team. At the hospital, he asks how the worker and the lost girl are doing. Raya's believers find Prithvi may be hallucinating again. Prithvi is back home, and he has dozed off on the floor when he dreams of the day of the accident. He had guaranteed their safety, even though Sapna wasn't sure about Megha going on the raft. Everything was fine till the raft capsized. Sapna hit her head on a rock, lost consciousness, and drowned, while Megha was sucked into a vortex, and she lost her life when her lungs filled with water. Somewhere Prithvi blames himself. Because of this, he always sees Sapna and Megha accusing him of their passing. He wakes up startled. Unable to get the ship and the locked engine room out of his mind, he decides to visit it at 3 in the morning. Before leaving, he calls Reyes, but his friend doesn't pick up the call. He is frantic as soon as he gets on the ship and carries an axe with him. He calls out, saying he's coming to help, and goes to the engine room to break it open with the axe. The door opens, and he starts climbing down the stairs when the stairs fall in, making him grab the railing for his life. Suddenly, the same snapping sound is heard as the doll appears at the door, but when the slithering creature suddenly attacks him, he loses his grip and falls several feet below. Reyes has a premonition of the danger and frantically knocks on Prithvi's door but doesn't get an answer. Miraculously, Prithvi is unharmed and soon gains consciousness but gets frightened by the snapping that seems to follow him. While running, he finds a video camera and also the decomposed body of the man who came with his girlfriend a few days ago. He has no choice but to keep running to save himself from the invisible force still following him. He manages to get out of the engine room and tries to get up, but the door to the deck is locked. Meanwhile, Reyes figures that Prithvi must be on the ship and goes there. But because of the high tide, the workers have to retrieve a boat to reach it. But Reyes, undeterred, finds another way to get to his friend. Prithvi has just managed to break the glass when the doll appears behind him, and then he sees it. The creature appears in front of him. It has a body of a woman, with all the limbs turned backward. It gets to its feet and twists its limbs back into its place. With a howling scream, it hurls the fire extinguisher at Prithvi. But Reyes opens the door just in the nick of time, and the fire extinguisher hits the thick metal door, saving Prithvi's life. Reyes stands there, frozen, when he sees the ghost of the girl charging toward him. Prithvi drags him out, and once on the deck, they jump off into the deep water. Prithvi looks at some more DVDs and finds the one Vandana recorded of Meera. The video ends with all the people on the deck jumping off the ship to their demise. Something about this entire ordeal strikes him, and he reaches for the records. After researching thoroughly, he takes them to Raghuvir. Reyes and Nilofer are also present. Prithvi theorizes that the girl they saw was Meera. Reyes argues that what they saw was unnatural, for which Prithvi has no explanation. Raghuvir envisages that the girl might be possessed, which may have led to her anomalous behavior, but they can't help her till they find out who possessed her and why. Prithvi starts collecting all the data he can find about the ship. He soon reaches a loose end, when he finds all the crew members who have ever been on that ship have passed away. One night while watching the video, he starts snapping his fingers, just like he heard on the ship when he hears the same snapping in the video. It is a portion of the video that he had not seen before. A crew member smiles and snaps his fingers to grab the recorder's attention. Prithvi was right. Meera is alive on the ship, but with something that overpowers her. Prithvi reaches out to Raghuvir to talk about the man that has often been seen in the footage recorded by Vandana. Raghuvir feels that whatever is keeping Meera alive has some unfinished business, and Prithvi meeting Meera is not a coincidence. It could have eliminated him on the ship, but it didn't, which means it is using Prithvi as a medium to get his unfinished business done. Reyes has found some information about the crew who had eliminated themselves in 2001. It took them back to 1998 in Oman. The crew was the same, and the ship was stuck in Oman for 3 years. Vandana was the only extra name in the 2001 crew list. A photograph was also found, which showed her standing near a church. Prithvi and Raghuvir visit the church in hopes of finding information about Vandana. To their surprise, they come to know that Vandana is alive. They find her inside the church and show her the recording of the guy smiling and ask her who he is. They tell her Meera is alive, but she refuses to believe them and starts walking away. Prithvi convinces her by showing a picture of Megha. He tells her he can't bring her back, but she is getting a chance to save her daughter. Vandana tells them that the entire crew of the ship was involved in. The captain had constructed a hidden room that couldn't be found easily. Anybody who tried to protest was put down. Vandana had become a subject of the captain's aggression, and when she couldn't take it anymore and tried to end her misery by putting an end, a crewman, Amr, saved her. He is the guy seen smiling in the videos. He took care of her, and soon their liking turned to love. They planned to run away together and devised a plan to expose the captain. They recorded all the evidence needed before the ship reached India. Amr wanted to get some more clips, so he went to record, but was seen by another crew member. The captain was furious when he came to know and ordered Amr to be eliminated, but they couldn't go about it because he had hidden all the tapes and evidence somewhere. The captain kept him alive and tortured him into revealing where he had hidden the tapes, but Amr didn't utter a single word, and because of the injuries, he passed away after 2 days. Victor, another crew member, was ordered to take care of Amr's body, but he went mad and jumped off the ship. For 3 years, Seabird was stuck in Oman port. Vandana decided to stay with the captain because she got pregnant. The captain was happy to hear the news, unbeknownst to him that the child was Amar's. It was Mira's 3rd birthday. The captain had organized a party on the deck. Soon they would have reached India, and everything would have been over, but something possessed the entire crew and they all jumped into the water together. A Coast Guard saved Bandana, but there were no other survivors. Bandana believes Mira is in the secret room on the ship. They all head to the ship. Riaz meets them near the ship and has bought petrol on Raghuvir's instructions. Prithvi doesn't want Bandana to go inside, as it can be dangerous. He gives her a walkie-talkie and asks her to direct them to the secret room, after which she has to get off the ship. The three venture inside the ship, but get separated when Prithvi is attacked. Riaz is locked out, while Prithvi and Raghuvir have no choice but to continue. Riaz is left alone, and gets spooked when a possessed Mira suddenly shows up. Riaz leaves the petrol there, and runs for his life. Bandana is directing Prithvi to the location, but they lose connection. Little Mira, as Bandana remembered, appears in front of her. Bandana is overwhelmed, and leaves her walkie-talkie on the deck to chase after Mira. She finds a secret chamber, and pulls the lever. Prithvi and Raghuvir have found the secret room, but they cannot break the metal door. As soon as Bandana pulls the lever, the door to the secret room opens. Riaz remembers the diesel leaking from somewhere, but their crew couldn't locate it. He now understands from where it was leaking, so he opens the channels, and the diesel starts pouring into the secret room. Prithvi and Raghuvir are looking around when Mira attacks them. She has Prithvi in her grip, but when she hears her mother's lullaby, she lets go of him. Bandana is walking nearby, singing Mira's favorite lullaby to find her. Bandana reaches the secret room and asks where Mira is. Prithvi holds her arm to stop her from going any further, but gets a flashback of what happened. Bandana had gone to see Amar, who was in bad shape. She had told him that she was pregnant, and soon after stabbed him several times, hence eliminating him. She was scared that the captain wouldn't have left her alive if he came to know anything. So to ensure nothing came out, she eliminated Amar. Amar's ghost shows up, and he's angry. He throws Prithvi out of his way. A cupboard falls on Prithvi, trapping him. Bandana is instantly eliminated by Amar's ghost for her betrayal. Prithvi discovers Amar's body hanging and brings it down, which makes Amar attack Prithvi once again. But Raghuvir diverts his attention by bringing down the body and reciting holy chanting to subdue Amar. But Amar's ghost is more powerful and drowns Raghuvir. Prithvi takes the opportunity and flings the axe toward the metal pillar, creating sparks leading to the leaking diesel catching fire. Amar's hanging body catches fire, leading to the dispelling of Amar's ghost. Prithvi manages to save Mira by jumping underwater to avoid the fire, and they emerge from the little hole where Prithvi first saw Mira. On the 9th of July 2012, Seabird left Mumbai with no living soul on board. Prithvi takes it upon himself to care for Mira, and teaches her the basics, like how to use a fork. But the darkness never truly leaves Prithvi's apartment.